Welcome back to Access Carolina, where we're covering all the fun across the upstate, including some things you can do on your own, like taking your favorite flowers from a big event, a meaningful gift, or just because, and preserving them. Abigail Harris grows her own flowers and presses them herself, and has brought her green thumb to studio to show us how it's done. How are you, Abigail? Happy to have you here.
Thank you, Ava. I'm happy to be here.
Man, and you know, most people throw out flowers within a week or two, but you really took the next step to preserve them. How did you get into that business?
So I love flowers,
Yes,
and
okay.
I love growing them. I love being around them. So I found a way that I can enjoy them all year long and share them with other people who enjoy them too through botanical preservation.
Wow. So what does your garden look like at home?
I think in general, it's actually a little bit smaller than most people expect. I mean, it is very large, but some people see the things I make and expect fields and fields and fields, and it's a big yard, but it's not a farm, you know. So it serves me well. I get to grow a large range of flowers, and they do their job.
And depending on what's in season, you can really customize what somebody would want. So preserving these enchanting memories, you know, did you do it once for yourself and you said, I should make a business out of this, or you just saw it online?
I kind of just had the realization one day that flowers could be preserved longer than their vase life. And so that really opened up the options. All right, how can I enjoy these even longer, present them, display them? And it really was a kind of a natural growth into what Mountain Creek Studio became.
Absolutely beautiful. And people can do this on their own if they go to, you know, a park or a pond, getting some flowers, they can press them, or you can have them professionally done. So we're going to show a little bit of that sped up version of how you do it. And you chose two different flowers here. Talk to me, as we're kind of starting to press them, the stories these flowers have.
So all flowers have meaning. So we're going to start with our blue hydrangeas here, and you're definitely welcome to help me with this. We're just going to lay them out on here and space them out a little bit like that. That's great. So we want to make sure we're not mixing different thicknesses of flowers in each layers, and that helps to get them pressed really nicely when working with different types of flowers, is making sure that each one is a layer of all the same thickness.
Yeah, well, that's good to know as far as the texture. I wouldn't have thought that goes into
so like,
it.
you know, some people, like you said, like to press at home. They'll use books, and so that's really key, is making sure you're not mixing different thicknesses within each layer. So this
some
board
paper here, some board,
and the board will help just keep a nice even pressure on the hydrangeas. All right, and then we're going to do a little bit more paper here, and then our next flower is going to be yarrow. Yeah, so we're actually going to fan these out just a little bit as we lay them down, and these are all flowers that are from my yard that I grew.
Oh my goodness.
And fan them out like this a little bit really just helps start them in the shape we want them to be when they're pressed. That way I can get a consistent result with them and make a consistent style of product.
And you know, they kind of resemble baby's breath, but I'm sure they have their own story too.
They do. So all flowers have a story, have something to say, have a meaning. So hydrangeas symbolize thankfulness and abundance. Yarrow symbolizes yarrow symbolizes well, healing, love, bravery, and courage, like jumping off a table.
Right. You had a big idea there.
So I actually have an entire page on my website dedicated to the meanings of the different flowers.
My goodness, wonderful.
So, which is really nice, knowing those extra meanings when you're trying to choose one for yourself or pick one to give as a gift. There's even each flower, there's a flower associated with each month of the year, so really good for celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. Or, you know, flowers are also memories. You know, I will always associate azaleas and alströmerias with my wedding, or lilies always make me think about my grandmother. So,
that's so true.
The flowers we work with and the things I make with them, while they're visually beautiful, they have a very beautiful meaning as well. So
do we give the flowers some like CPR? How do you do it?
So I do bolt them down after this, which presses them, but that takes a little bit of time, but they'll stay in this press, which also starts the drying process. They'll stay in here anywhere from a few days through a few weeks, depending on how many flowers, the season, the thickness of them.
Amazing.
And so that's the first step in the preservation process.
And you stay busy with some of your other projects here. I'm sure a lot of you are staring, like I am, at the jewelry, the bee earrings. How adorable are those?
Well, thank you. So so my earrings are super fun, and they're definitely been a bestseller ever since I started. But the finger rings and our claw clips over here have been very popular the past few seasons as well.
I love the claw clips. Perfect for the summer when you want to toss your hair up but still look stylish.
Yes.
So now this is different than just pressing. Is this like a resin in here?
Yes, so the clear part in all my pieces are different types of resin. So resin is kind of somewhere, you see it there a little bit. It's kind of between a plastic and a glass, so super clear, super lightweight, but very, very durable. Now, I know we're talking about doing some DIY stuff at home. Resin is one thing that you need to do research on beforehand because there are ventilation and PPE requirements. So just because you press flowers, you definitely don't need to get into resin, but if you want to take that route, just make sure you do your research and you stay safe.
Gotcha. No, that's a very, very good tip. And I think this has some resin on it here too. A nice, could be jewelry pot, put some pennies on there.
So these are my little trinket dishes. So yes, they're great for, storing your jewelry or just displaying sentimental flowers. So the one you have here is made with the same hydrangeas and yarrow that we have pressing here.
Wow.
And have some different flowers in our terracotta tone dish here. So yeah, so they're beautiful for just display, but they're super handy to have well. So yeah, that's me making this exact dish that you're holding here.
Gorgeous.
So those are the flowers. The flowers are pressed there, so you see how the press gets them nice and flat, so they can be used in these sorts of applications.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm really shocked that those flowers hold that much pigment still.
They do, but also because I grow the flowers, I can choose ones that do that, or if I harvest some, and like white flowers are really hit or miss. Some go very transparent, so I really can choose to work with ones that keep a very strong pigment and give you, the best, brightest. So like this is another hydrangea, and it's just beautiful, beautiful blue. So
perfectly pressed on there.
We have lots of very vibrant colors.
Yes.
And because yes, you know that they're flowers, but you want to see how beautiful.
Oh, and take you back to that
too.
moment too. I'm sure a lot of brides want to have their bouquets preserved, or even the other end of things, funerals having those bouquets preserved too.
Yes, it's a very unique way to preserve, to memorialize things as well. And
now, do you have any tips for that? Because I know after a wedding, I think sometimes the bouquet is the last thing you're thinking of, but you want to get that off lickety-split.
Yeah, so definitely if you want this type of work done, you want to kind of plan ahead and find your preservationists beforehand, so they will give you instructions on how to ship, when to ship, how to store them if you can't ship them immediately, and things like that. So yes, I do definitely work with other people's flowers as well, and there's a whole process to making sure I get them at the right stage and also get started on them quickly so they preserve very nicely, but you're also not waiting a year to get your pieces back because you're so excited.
It's not like the first bite of the wedding cake. You got to get that done right away. And I'm sure a lot of people are watching wondering if you do classes, workshops, anything on the weekends coming up?
I don't do too many teaching experiences, but I do markets and art festivals throughout the year where folks can come see everything in person. And of course, I have a full online store as well.
Perfect. Well, Abigail, I think you have sufficiently taken us all through a walk through your garden. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to see what these turn out to be, but I'm guessing, like you said, pretty similar to this.
Oh, yes.
Good deal. All righty, and for more tips and tricks for at-home pressing, or if you have an idea for Abigail, you can send that to her following along to see what she creates next with her information on the screen now. And plus, they smell amazing.